Welcome to Scotslam, live episode 8. Prepare yourself tonight for a midget Hulk Hogan, a shot Joe Rogan, mute Liam's microphone. That might be Scotslam's new slogan. Tonight we have two of our usual guys, and sending in their apologies. We have Ryan and Greg, both of whom are currently under a wellness suspension policy. But the two guys that did make their way down to ringside, he's got the job on at Brock, he's electrifying as a rock. He's your usual host, Lewis Blackstock.
Hello.
Coin flips make him cringe. He doesn't have a cringe. Joining me tonight.
Hello. Such a dickhead.
Tonight we're going to cover AEW Blood and Guts to get through from Wednesday night. Absolute class event. Lots to talk about there, and then we'll follow that up with some SmackDown. As usual, if you want to join us, send your comments in through YouTube. If you want to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, hit us up there as well. So we'll start off then with AEW. What did you make of the opener, Michael?
I was quite looking forward to this match. I think I've covered many a time. I've not seen a lot of Kenny Omega. I was really looking forward to seeing him. And at the start, when there was a wee teaser that he wasn't going to be there, I was like, "Oh, what the fuck's going on here?" But no, it was just a wee bit of shenanigans, and they attacked John Moxley and Eddie Kingston during their entrance. The match itself, I was looking forward to it, and it didn't disappoint. Really was a great match. But one thing that did confuse me though is MT Nakazawa. How did he not get disqualified using his headset to choke folk? Is there just no DQs in AEW now?
That's a shout, actually. That's a shout.
Like right in front of it. It's not even as if the ref had his back turned or whatever. It's just like right in front of him.
It's like a hidden rule with the pay-per-view they've not mentioned. Referees are more lenient.
They'd have been knackered if they did disqualify him, because Omega didn't hang about for long.
I know.
I suppose that's what happens when he's working Impact at the same time.
Poor lad's fucking knackered.
Guy's absolutely nuts, man.
I don't know how he's got an injury just carrying the belts about. That's how I think later on he had to get help.
It's just so strange. Like, see, during the match, I know it's just so strange seeing a regular pile driver like during the wrestling, like, because I'm so used to it being fucking forbade in WWE. So it was nice seeing that as a wee change, I'd say.
What did you think Eddie Kingston, Lewis?
I thought he's quite good. It was interesting his wee tactic with trying to protect Moxley with his life, grabbing the legs after they hit him, of course, but it's a little bit too late. I would have expected Dive to come before they beat the shit out of him, but there you go. But he was quite impressive to see for a guy. He's maybe, I know, like Kevin Owens and stuff like that. They're heavier set guys, but you sometimes don't expect these guys to be able to pull off certain moves and be as fast and have good stamina. But the guy has some great stamina, and I just like his overall attitude. Just he's pure. I don't know. It's just tough attitude. He just doesn't give a shit. I think that's just maybe for where he's from. Maybe he generally is like that anyway.
I was surprised to see the big gut on him. Like, see, I'd only seen him like what you can see of me, and like his face looks pretty slick. Like Kevin Owens, like you can kind of like he's not fat, but like you can see like a bit of bulk about him. But Kingston's like just kind of slim for here, and then I just seen the big kind of gut, and I was like, oh fucking hell.
Right. So I've been tanning the beers with Moxley, I think. I was going to say as well, that's the thing, like later in, like when we talked about SmackDown, I was actually going to say, like, you really don't realise the size. I thought KO was quite big as well, but it's the first time I've seen him face to face with Otis, and then you realise he's not really that big. You know what I mean?
You always had guys that were built a bit like Kevin Owens, your Bubba Ray Dudleys, your Bam Bam Bigelow's, Vaders, people like that. But Eddie Kingston looks a wee bit like the guys in your pub that sell a fire stick. Your typical wrestler shape, but I thought he looked good. Moxley's always class. The pile driver that you're talking about was absolutely lethal. It did look like a damaging pile driver. And then obviously setting that up for Moxley and Kingston to take the win. I actually felt a wee bit. I had to look down there at my notes because I keep saying Nakamura when I talk about this guy, but actually sorry for Nakazawa. Left with two brutal guys, didn't really stand a chance. And then what did you make of the Young Bucks coming down? I know Greg would have loved their clothes, so I'm hoping to catch up with it. Bright, ridiculous looking, colourful clothes. It's no wonder they were able to get a distraction. Yeah. What did you make at the end of it?
Oh, I thought they were brilliant. I fucking love the Young Bucks. Like, they're like so charismatic. And just when he was lying there, I still don't know I know they're both Jackson, but I don't know their first names yet. But like, see, just the way it was just Matt and Nick. Well, the way Matt and Nick was lying in the turnbuckle, just chilling, and then they did a wing clip and then did a fake pin just to get them over as proper wee dickheads.
Aye. So obviously after that, the Good Brothers come in. What do you make of how they're being used just now? I was quite excited when they first joined the promotion, Lewis, but do you think they've been underutilised?
Can I throw a bit about in a way like I don't know, shared underwear? I suppose just a bit everywhere. I don't understand why they're quite dominant. I mean, for times I think when I have seen them from when I started watching it properly. They were quite dominant tag team, and I thought, well, maybe they're going to be like on a run like the way they would. And I know we compare it to WWE all the time, but we do. But I thought, maybe it was going to be like a run where they would just go for quite a dominant run the way Kenny Omega is with the belts. But it's like now that they've got the Young Bucks, and I know Young Bucks have always been the kind of, they're obviously been there longer as well, so it's like it's hard for them to take that off. But then having them there is a bit of a conflict. But maybe that's a future conflict we're going to see. Maybe a breakage. We can't predict that in AEW. That's an unfortunate thing. You can't ever predict a breakup. You just don't know. They can have fights every week, but they never turn each other. They're always at each other's backs. So I don't know. I do like them. I just hope I feel maybe they're a wee bit underutilised. They're just purely used for muscle, really.
It's probably the only faction in AEW. It's certainly only one I can think of where there are two natural tag teams in. You know that most of the other factions, they're made up of individuals in maybe one tag team. So it does seem a bit strange. The Young Bucks are going to get all the limelight here. I don't really see story-wise what the path forward for them is.
Nah, I think you're right, to be honest with you. It's there's a few matches I think like that. Like sometimes that you don't really see where they're leading to, if they're actually leading to a championship or if it's just they're just there for the ride, really. But I suppose it's because that's the problem with factions as well, isn't it? And not enough titles and whatever else. I guess that you kind of risk that problem. But then again, like we say, we might have a wee break between them. They might feud together, but I think it's safe to say the Young Brothers should flatten them, technically speaking. But then again, Young Bucks are technically gifted, so it's kind of it's an overall good match. But you'd like to think Young Bucks would get a run then, but who knows? It's a bit like Moxley, Omega. You just think he's going to have titles forever, honestly.
So following on from that, then with Cody Rhodes and QT Marshall, guys used to be best friends. If it, maybe dipping in and out in the same storyline for a wee while. But what did you make of the match itself, Michael?
I thought the ref was kind of screwing Cody Rhodes a wee bit at the start. Like he went to use his belt, the ref took it off him, but then QT Marshall could use his, and then he went to go to the top rope, and the ref's like, no. Since when can you not go to the top rope in wrestling? And then QT Marshall got the advantage in that. I'm just going to read my notes here just to go over it because it was a couple of days ago I watched this.
One of the things I remember from it was JR's probably the line of the night when Cody pantsed him, saying, he needs to go to the hospital, his ass is cut. Jesus Christ.
Oh, that is proper Alec Potter. In fact, I had that written down in the next part of my notes.
That was me filling in as well, so you could read your notes.
Sorry. In fact, I'll tell you once what I did like. Although I don't quite like how there was a kick out at the end of it. See the wee tombstone pile driver spot where they just kept doing the reversals. But I did feel like the tombstone, like the dead man deserves a bit more respect than that, just to make a wee 2 count after that. But I mean, again, it's not their finishing move. But I think I don't know if you want to cover it, but we had a big stupid go at the end of the fucking match. With shitey bolo shot, it's now been called. Don't know what that means. It's a shite punch. It'll never get over until he actually. I think maybe he just needs to take one solid shot at somebody, and I'll go oofed, and then from then on I'll be like, all right, fair enough, he's got it in him. But until that time, it's just shite.
Oh, you're right. I thought there was a pretty decent finish to the match. I actually quite liked it. I thought it was comical. You know, the kind of reversals and getting back into the tombstone pile driver. I suppose it's different. You know, executing a move like that when you're the size of Cody Rhodes, when you're the size of the Undertaker, a lot more power and strength and force and gravity. You know, downwards, piling you into the canvas. So I think it would have been more disrespectful if they tried to claim, you know, they could pull it off with the same effect as the dead man. There's no way anybody else is doing it that well. At the end of it, putting a Union Jack over him, I thought it was.
Oh, that was. I was nearly sick.
Absolutely.
I'll say nothing.
I nearly quit AEW there and then. This isn't for me.
I would have almost said it, especially for who it was doing it. But the most I'm going to say about him is I've got a name for his move, and it's because it's that ineffective. And it's the thing is, though, I don't want to hate on the guy forever, of course, because it's nasty, of course. And if he hears it, I'm sure he'll get it. But it's the main person I'm concerned about is Cody Rhodes. He's going to be out for weeks after this tummy tap. It's just like, I really do feel sorry for him. I know he's had his time out for his baby, but now he's going to be out for weeks and weeks with this tummy tap. It's just.
May just get taped up ribs like old Billy Gunn.
Honestly,
it was that devastating. Broke a rib.
It's not getting any better any week. It's just it doesn't look effective at all. I don't understand. So what's the difference between him punching?
I'm worried about Greg taking a couple of weeks off because he'll still be rewinding that flag getting put over him.
Oh, he's Big Agogo's #1 fan now.
What did you make of Cody getting busted open again? This seems to be something that happens to him almost every time he's in the ring. I totally get his desire to sell the show, and his dad was certainly famous for it, but look at old Dusty's forehead. You know, that was expected at those times. What do you make of Cody going through all of that just now?
Maybe his skin's just made of paper. And he's not actually bleeding, not actually getting hurt. It's just an accident. I can sympathise. I dunked my hand and it fucking busts open as well. I'm just obviously not in a wrestling scenario.
So obviously there was a decent promo after that, which Darby Allin rudely interrupted. And, the fallout from that was pretty brutal, considering it wasn't a scheduled match. What did you think of that, Lewis?
I thought it was insane. I think like it kind of takes off, although I'm not dissing the main event in any way, shape or form. I think it does take a wee bit of the shine off of the Jericho getting thrown off the top, because obviously we know what was underneath it and whatnot, but to me it doesn't really matter. The point is he still fell for height, he still potentially get injured. But of course, if that, and he's 50. Exactly, they need to look after. He's a prize asset technically to them, so you know they need to look after the guy. Be fair, but you know Darby Allin getting chucked off a set of stairs is going to look more brutal than that any day of the week. I mean, I dare say he's probably took a few of them skateboarding, but maybe not in that form, falling sideways. Don't know.
And that's it. Later on, you can be aided by staging. If you're in the ring, you're taking a bump on canvas. But the awkward way, you know, that he was thrown down the stairs, it didn't matter how good or how skilled a stuntman you are. Taking a bump like that's really, really risky. I thought when I saw the card for Blood and Guts, it was surprising that they didn't have a title match on it. So I thought they would find a way to include them somehow, but what a way to include them. I know it's Blood and Guts, but fucking hell.
Well, 21 days away for the next event as well, that's the worst it.
So after that, with Dr. Britt Baker, PMT, for a match against a 12-year-old lassie. What did you think of that, Michael?
Oh, that was the first time I've seen Britt Baker in a match, and I mean, it wasn't really a long match to delve into much, but like her character enough was like enough to get me invested in her. She just looks like, as I keep mentioning, a lot of these heels are just perfect at being just dickheads. She just looks like that, and I like how she was COVID aware, wear a wee dentist glove when she was giving her the lockjaw. Well done, Britt Baker.
And I think that's the thing. There was 3 moves in that whole match. You know, I've written down here the sling blade, the air raid, and then the lockjaw for the finish. I think when you look at her match with Thunder Rosa, you know, that kind of built us up for something really special at Blood and Guts, but it was really disappointing, I thought, Lewis. As
you just want the momentum to keep moving as much as possible. You maybe want her to start challenging for jumping the champion. Really, that's what you're wanting to go. You want to see a bit more fight, more feistiness in it, instead of just getting a basic match that has absolutely nothing to do with what she's going for. She's going for the title as she wants to do, and we're having to wait all this time. And I don't know, dare I say it? Next Wednesday, she's going to just get another squash match, and it's just going to be squash match, all the way up until this pay-per-view, and then she gets a shot at the title. It doesn't really make sense. I know they're all about numbers, but if it's a squash match, it's not really convincing as a fan. Personally, I don't think it is as much as that match she had with Thunder Rosa was fantastic. You want something that's going to become close to that. Maybe there's nothing going to be as good as it, but something that's close to it.
A strange way to set up a squash match as well, saying she's from Missouri, but she's trained in Calgary, and her second name is Hart. There's lots of Hearts up there in Calgary. But this laddie's never been in the dungeon, so why? There's no way. Why they set up that whole kind of a backstory for a 1.5 minute match seems mental to me.
I thought she did better than Natalia, to be fair.
Right, moving on. So the next match, I'm going to read out the participants off the screen because I'd need to be a Rain Man to remember them all. This was SoCal Uncensored with Frankie Kazarian and Christopher Daniels, who I've loved for a long time. Jurassic Express, and it was Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. Varsity Blondes, it was Brian Pillman Jr. and Griff Garrison, and the Acclaimed, Anthony Bowers and Max Caster. So it was a strange 4-team tag match with 2 really experienced guys and 3 up-and-coming teams. What did you make of that match, Michael?
I thought I just would like to address Ryan. Don't worry about it, Ryan. Just you take care of your missus, mate. I think I'd seen. I remember when we first started this podcast, and I had to watch the AEW. I clicked on the wrong link, and I watched the weeks previous. So they'll only seen the start of it, and I seen the Acclaimed come out, and I don't know who it is that does the actual rapping, but I thought, oh my god, he's brilliant. And then obviously I realised it was the wrong week, so I didn't watch the rest of it. But it was really nice to see him again, because I was looking forward to seeing him again. What's his name? So I can stop saying him.
Who is it you're talking about? The guy on the mic?
For the Acclaimed. From
the Acclaimed. So it's Anthony Bowers and Max Caster.
I think it's Max Caster.
It's Max Caster who's a cheeky one. I thought he gave the Varsity Blondes some amount of shade, saying in 10 years he'll be on the dark side of the ring. That was brutal, man. What about the actual match itself, Lewis?
I thought it was good. It was quite fast, to be fair. Quite a fast match. I suppose they had to do that with their time limits and stuff like that, but from the spots that you were getting people's finishers left, right and centre. And throughout the lot, to be fair, end result, I didn't see SCU winning it, to be fair. I kind of thought maybe there was a chance that at one point I thought Jurassic Express were going to win it because they seem to be on quite an up at the minute. And then for Blondes, I thought obviously they had a last gasp kind of fight against Frankie Kazarian before Daniels came in the ring. And I just thought it was brilliant. I liked the wee touch with Pillman as well. He was wearing his dad's tights as a tribute, so I thought that was quite good. But they can cost to win it. It just shows you that they're developing these tag teams quite well, and they're all liked. That's the thing. It's not like there's some people are a bit like, are they good enough? Do I like them? I know you actually can find yourself split, which I was, to be fair. I was like, as I say, I hadn't seen much. I think it was until Christian, to be fair. I hadn't really seen much of Kazarian, to be fair. I've seen Daniels in Impact and TNA before, but I've never really seen them as a tag team, and I've not really seen much of Kazarian, to be fair, until I think when Christian also showed up. Probably calling the wrong name, but here we go. Not to be fair, the match was good itself, but that Daniels moonsault was fantastic. The way he came in there to win that. And they're thoroughly deserving of it, and it's good to see that it's not a case of a company looking at them and going, right, you're too old for this now. You're going to just take the loss until you're done. It's like they're still putting championships on people that are still a bit older than these up and comers. They're not just going to willingly give it to a young and upcoming team just for the sake of it. They're going to make them earn it, which is good.
I couldn't agree with you more, Lewis. That's the kind of swear I like, because that's actually watching them all in the ring. Pillman Jr., it's a great story. I want to see him doing well. But you could tell he's still a little bit green. The varsity ones are still developing. Jurassic Express are, they're competent, they're decent, but they were probably the expected winners.
Aye.
Nobody was probably, expecting Frankie Kazarian and Christopher Daniels to win. But for believability, actually, that I thought that was the right winners in the end, and I hope they're credible guys. I hope that they then start becoming a bit of a presence and a force. So just after that, we had Kenny Omega being interviewed by Tony Schiavone. There's been some controversy over Kenny Omega not holding all the belts, and a lot of social media comments on that being disrespectful to Impact. The fact that he wasn't holding their belt after winning it on their television tape. What do you think about that, Michael?
I mean, it's heavy. The lads get 4 belts. Cut him a bit of slack. And I mean, I feel like Kenny Omega, like his character is an arrogant, cocky, egocentrical dickhead. Again, there's that word, dickhead. So I feel like if it was somebody like, I don't know, it's a long shot, but like Darby Allin, like a babyface, if he was the one that hold all the belts, and it was like, I'd feel like he'd be viewed as a proud champion. He would want to hold all the belts, but whereas Kenny Omega is more like the gold is almost like a side piece to him, almost.
I think you're right. I think considering that he didn't even really want to fight, he thought he was too good to fight in his earlier match. It just continued the narrative for me. What did you think about the promo itself, Lewis? Quite scathing with the Canadian tuxedo Orange Cassidy and with double denim idiot.
He just looked like a painting. He didn't move. He just didn't move. He like, came in quite cocky, and then by the end, he just looked like he had nothing to say at all.
Channeling his Dexter Loomis.
He's like, he thinks he's a cool Daniel Bryan. That's what he thinks it is with the sunglasses, honestly. But I thought that was good. Like, it just shows you how good the Meg is, like, how arrogant that guy can be. It's unreal. And I really don't even. I wouldn't even think to say that the guy's acting. I think that's probably the way he genuinely is. He just comes across that way. He's just so cocky, just arrogant, and see, before he backs up, I cannot deny that. Nobody can deny it. He's such a talent, but. Thanos gets killed in Avengers, so it's happening. It's happening at some point in this, I think. But let's face it, he's never going to get that last stone. He's never going to get WWE, is he? But I don't know. It's the way he's arrogant enough to say that he's not going to win it, and it's going to be Packy's face, and that's what I'm like. All right, okay, it's kind of an interesting way, but then it kind of sets it up for a Daniel Bryan thing for Cassidy where it's going to be Cassidy wins it because the crowd's backing, obviously chanting for him anyway, so they're obviously wanting him to go with it. But personally, I think the person that would develop a better match with is going to be Pac. 100%. You're going to get a better match out of him, I think.
I think you're right, and I think Kenny Omega was a CM Punk with how brutal he was in his honesty, his assessment of their abilities. I love Pac. I think he's brilliant, and a wee bit like Seth Rollins. I think you can throw him in the ring with anybody. He can get a great match out of huge big guys and technically gifted folk too. So I'm really looking forward to it. Orange Cassidy's not a bad wrestler. I find it difficult to personally invest in him. So I quite liked it. Kenny Omega was keen on my roasting, all the kids and they're all buying your t-shirts. And that's the only reason you're in the position. I felt like that myself, but it's a bit too much of a shoot in it to let him get away with, dancing round about him, hitting him with all that stuff, and then not letting him say anything back.
Kind of felt sorry for him, just kind of sitting there. He even stole his sunglasses as well. Poor guy, just to add insult to injury. He's just sitting there cheers, mate.
And just the same with the belts, he wasn't carrying them. He put them. Just knock us out. Just a same. And then even he, because he's standing behind Kenny Omega's giving it all. Orange Cassidy's best friends aren't really best friends, are they?
No.
They're absolutely nowhere to be seen. It's absolutely mental. What did you think about Miro's promo, Lewis?
There's one thing I will say. Although his promo was quite good, it was. I do remember him from WCW, right? But Tony Schiavone, is he okay? Because I don't know if it's just something I've noticed this week. He's only been doing it this week, but he was mouthing word for word everything Miro said, and I just don't understand why. It's just like it wasn't even just the contract bit. It was the bit before he even started reading the contract, and he's mouthing it. And I was like, I rewound it just to see. I was like, is he actually mouthing just standard stuff he's saying? And I'm like, has he been told word for word exactly what to say? And I'm like, obviously things are scripted, of course, but I found that hilarious. It's just the way, like, at one point he was trying to make it no obvious by just keeping his mouth open like this. I'm just, you can still see you're saying everything he's saying word by word. He stopped at one point right enough, but I don't know what that is. Maybe that's just something over time. He's a perfectionist. Maybe just wants everybody to nail their promos and whatever. I don't know, but I found that funny. But Miro himself, sorry, I thought it was good. I like the fact that he's getting maybe a potentially a championship now, because I think he's another one that's maybe underutilized since he's stepped foot in AEW. So yeah. I'd like to see him get his chance, and obviously he's going to have the advantage after he's been thrown down a set of stairs. But to be fair, the guy might genuinely hurt, so he might need to take that off him. So if it was, to be fair, it would be a good guy to actually take the championship off his hands. To be fair, as long as it's not Omega, because as I say, can he get any more gems or stones or whatever?
No. I think that's what they might be building up to. I think Alan will be injured. He's not going to get the shot that he was promised, and then hopefully he's just going to go absolute bush and wreck the place. So that led us on to Blood and Guts, which Dusty Rhodes invented this concept. It's two rings covered in a cage. For people that haven't seen it before, what happens is two guys square off for 5 minutes, and then at 2 minute intervals they introduce somebody, which means that one team's get a natural advantage because there will be 2-on-1 for a period before that's equaled up, and it's the same team that has the advantage throughout. So it's a kind of unique, set of circumstances. It was a Pinnacle versus Inner Circle who've had this growing feud. What did you think about it, Michael?
I thought it was brilliant. I mean, obviously, it's I've seen similar things in NXT with War Games, but I thought Sammy Guevara and Dax Harwood were like two good people to start the match. I think Guevara's flip over the ring, into the other ring to actually start the thing. It gave you a kind of insight as to what the rest of the match was just going to be like. It was just mental, from start to finish. It was literally, obviously, you know, I just finished my work and I had like the main event to watch. So before I came on the live stream, so I was literally just watching it, trying to scribble down as much. And there was so much stuff to get done. But no, the match itself, like obviously the pay-per-view is called Blood and Guts and the match is called Blood and Guts, but obviously I've been so desensitized by WWE for so many years in this PG era that obviously I saw it earlier on in the night with Cody Rhodes, but just the amount of blood and chair shots to the head and all that, like it was amazing. It was brilliant. It was everything I've missed in wrestling.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I think the chair shot to the head, the chair might have been gimmicked. I hope it was gimmicked because, like, obviously we've seen like what can happen with like CTE and all that sort of stuff. But obviously, if it was safe and all that sort, then fair dues, it adds to the match. But I'd be interested to hear what you thought because I thought it was amazing.
I thought it was unbelievable. You know, we spoke about the arcade match that they pulled off, you know, the last pay-per-view, and that was phenomenal. I thought this was every bit as good. What did you think, Lewis?
Oh, honestly, I'm the same as Michael. I only caught it tonight, and it was cutting it fine. But to be honest, if I had to write everything that was say everything that was impressed with, I would have been here for days. So analysis-wise, the blood, the physical intensity, everything about the way the match was built, but all positives. There was no negatives about it, and I was really, to be honest, I was really impressed with Dax and Harwood. I was quite gutted when they left WWE, but you know, the mutual respect they've shown, unlike some people who they hop to AEW, is quite good as well. I like that touch. But they were just like two old school throwbacks, just the way they were kind of throwing things, and they knew exactly how to sell it. And you seen the blood pouring out of them. It was insane. So they were not exactly taking any hits lightly.
No.
But they were definitely the MVPs for me. Along with maybe Sammy Guevara, I thought he was phenomenal. I didn't take to him at first, to be fair. But like, see, just that match alone, everything he was doing, he had this kind of Eddie Guerrero likeness to him. It's like, I think if you're a fan of Eddie Guerrero, it's one of these things I think you will just take to the guy because his attitude in general, he doesn't give a toss. He's going to just come in and do it, and see the way it's worked. I think he could potentially be their John Cena, the ultimate babyface in AEW, just the way he was going. Like, I loved that wee bit right at the very beginning where he was hitting his head off every turnbuckle on the way down. It's just like, that was brilliant. And then I think it was what was the movie he did? Was it the Spanish Flyby? I think it was called.
Spanish Fly.
Spanish Fly.
I know it was assisted with the chair hit, but I was just like, what the hell, man? It's like there's momentum in it, but you need the momentum to actually jump off them. But it's the fact that both of them are so unbalanced on two sets of ropes, and they still pulled it off.
Mm-hmm.
Phenomenal.
From opposite rings, it was unbelievable. Sammy Guevara's my favourite wrestler just now. If you haven't seen him fighting this series of matches with Dusty Rhodes that are on YouTube, that are well worth a watch. They're fantastic. I said Dusty Rhodes there. You know that's not him.
That'd be phenomenal as well. Imagine.
He spoke to Sarah and he turned back time.
Wonder what age you would have been.
Dusty Rhodes, they were absolute classic matches. Unbelievable. I think you guys are a genius in the ring. I love watching them. And hopefully he will be, you know, one of the biggest stars in their promotion. I had written notes, you see, after Sammy had done the coast to coast.
Oh, that was beautiful.
He pulled that off, but I was writing notes. I'm just looking at my handwritten ones here. I've absolutely no idea what happened. I was in the middle of writing a list about what was in the ring, what had been used. So I wrote steel cages, chairs, bats, ripped up ring, broken ropes, turnbuckles, forks, fuck me. So something really happened when I was writing the notes. And I get carried away. So, whatever happened in between the fork, getting jabbed into an eye, that took me to Jericho and my jerk-off friend at the top of the cage. What did you think of that, Michael?
Oh, I thought like I quite liked at the start when MJF came, not at the start at the start of MJF's match when he came in, and the crowd was like, there was I think people were saying like he's so good at being a heel that he might get cheered, but as soon as he came in, everybody was like, asshole. I was like, yes. And even when at the top of the cage, he was still getting booed. But
that happens to me when I swipe in at work.
Except it's after management. But where am I reading here? I thought like I seen before I even watched the match, I seen like the memes of Chris Jericho like in the in the padding. But see, when I watched it, it was like the match itself was amazing. Like everybody put like such an effort in to make that like it was like a midweek pay-per-view almost. Well, that's essentially what it was. But for people to criticize the bump, it's ridiculous, man. Like he's 50 years old, and like what do they like? People when Matt Hardy hit the bump a couple of weeks ago and he hit his head and it was like a pretty bad concussion, and that's so unsafe, and now like when they actually take precautions, there's still complaints. Like, do you want the wrestler to actually like full on hit the deck and I mean, look at poor old Mick Foley after the years of torment that he's been through. Poor lad can barely walk.
Don't worry about them, son. That's Raw fans who are just tuning into EW for a pay-per-view. Listen to them, pal. I thought Lewis, your pal Schiavone, I thought he was great for this match. So when MJF does the low blow, calls him a no good piece of shit, and then that led to him being an even worse piece of shit. You know, Sammy surrenders, they give up the win, and then MJF takes it for there. What did you think about that?
It was interesting because I didn't see the Guevara kind of thrown in the towel, so to speak. I thought it would have been to the end. I know people have been mixed reviews about it, like we say about the fall. People said he's copying Shane McMahon with the jump, and technically Mick Foley as well, I guess. But it's like I didn't see a flaw in it, to be honest. And I liked the wee commentary kind of touch was fantastic. Or dare I say, everything that was getting said in the ring as well was probably getting mouthed by Schiavone, probably. We just didn't get to see it. But no, it was. I loved it. I thought it was really good. And MJF is going to be, well, to me, he's never not been a heel, and he's always been a dick, to be fair. So it's like the moment I seen the guy, I don't think he even opened his mouth. And I looked at him and I was going, that guy's a dick. It's like, you can just tell he's a heel just by the look at him. Everything about him. And it's working. The pineapple's working. And I love that for Jericho, how he can just pull things like that. It's like anybody can say that. Anybody else can say it and it's no funny, but Jericho hits it with it and it's just hilarious, honestly. But people were also saying that the way they finished the match, if maybe they finished it slightly differently, they could have kept this feud going with the two groups. But to be honest, I don't think they should. I think personally, them finishing it the way they have the now is good in a sense, because it's like it doesn't ruin it, it doesn't tarnish it. If you're going to just keep repeating the same thing over and over again, like we've seen in certain brands, I think what I mentioned. Don't want to mention it. But the same things we're seeing over and over again with our same tag team. But then it would probably ruin it eventually, but it'd probably take a lot longer, I think, for them to ruin that, considering the absolute heat that they've been given. I think like promos, the one that still sticks in my head is when they showed up at where they took over their room and they just showed up at either side of the doors and then just jumped them. I love that. And to be honest, I think I could have watched this feud. I could genuinely watch it for more matches if they were going to have things like this again and continue it. But if it's the last one, I think you've got to say it's going in the history of the books for sure.
Absolutely. So that ends then our AEW segment, and we'll go on to talk about SmackDown. But just be aware, some of our listeners getting to know us a wee bit better. If we want to tell them who on any active promotion just now you're most excited about watching week to week? What's it, the wrestlers, the stables, or the tag teams? Who's got you buzzing and looking forward to catching up with them every week? We'll start with you, Michael.
For me, I mean, anything on SmackDown, to be honest. The main person that I'm looking forward to, in all honesty, isn't even a wrestler. It's Pat McAfee. I just look forward to hearing him every week. And I don't know if you saw, I think it was supposed to start SmackDown, but it gets scrapped. But they put it on WWE.com anyway. They had Pat McAfee come in as the old school, like dressed as old school Vinnie Mac, doing a Vince McMahon impression, coming to SmackDown. The man is just brilliant. Like, I love him so much. But in terms of like wrestlers, like this whole story, it was so strange. Like, we were actually talking about it on the podcast as SmackDown was airing, like the last time. Like, I was saying that I can't wait for Jimmy Uso to come back and see where it takes this feud, because everything that's happening right now with Roman Reigns and Cesaro and Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, Paul Heyman, just everybody is just, it's so good. Like, and when you compare it to other things, it's just like it's night and day. It really is.
So obviously you're from Govan, so nobody who's listening in is going to be surprised that virus protection is really important to you. So I would expect you have said McAfee for telling the truth, Michael. What about you, Lewis?
It's a tough one. I'm quite for the comedy factor at the minute. It's a real tough one between Riddle and Grimes. I'm loving the both of them. But for the pure wrestling, I'm loving everything Roman Reigns is doing. I just think it's brilliant. He could potentially lose Paul Heyman and still be this great heel. I just love the way they're developing the storyline, especially after this SmackDown. It's just kind of blown out of the water with some more intertwining storylines. We're talking about that, I think, on NXT. There's a storylines we're seeing with the way, and then this is a SmackDown version of that. It's the fact that there's a family feud potentially going on at the same time as this Universal Championship stuff. So, to be honest, I'll go with Roman with that one. But comedy factor, it's a stalemate between the two. I can't pick.
Do you know it's mental to think that I'm actually saying something like positive about, like, to think that jersey you're wearing right now, Liam, when we were there, to think if you'd said in that moment, see in a few years' time, you'll actually like Roman Reigns. Mental. It's actually mental to think about.
That's mental that either of you like Roman Reigns. I still can hardly believe it myself. If I was talking about who got me most excited for week to week at the minute, for me, it would probably be Cesaro. I've been waiting so long for him to get this push. I'm too nervous to invest anything in the Natalia storyline now, because my heart gets broken every time. And like an abused wife, I think it's time for me to just cut the cord and let it go. No, I'm investing no more emotion in it. If something happens, it's a nice wee surprise. If that happens to Cesaro now, and I end up in the same position with Cesaro as I am with Natalia, Vince can get to fucking, I'll just watch ICW and AEW and keep myself to myself. So SmackDown then, actually a really good way to open a show, continue a storyline, and tie it up nicely at the end, which is something that Rod's really struggled with. But we'll start with the opener first. So the opening segment, Lewis, what did you think about that?
I thought it was interesting. We're talking about people holding belts. Paul Heyman was holding Range's belt for this one, which is a first I think I've seen him. Eventually took it off him right enough, but I was in floods of tears with Heyman doing the ding, ding, ding.
Salute to myself.
you seen Roman slightly cracked, but Jay was away in the background. You seen it at one point, the camera cut the wrong way and he was away. I just honestly, he never feel, it's like when he does want to be funny, that guy is funny as hell. The one that just sticks in my mind all the time is when he's rocking out to Seth Rollins' theme, I think it was, He's pure doing the air guitar when he comes into the ring.
That was so good.
Like,
does Brock Lesnar not tell me calm down?
It's just so maybe Brock Lesnar just sometimes snaps him and just goes, say something stupid, Paul. Just honestly, it's unreal. But no, I love everything that's going on with it, and I didn't see that one coming. To be fair with Roman, I thought it was just far too serious for things like that. But I like the fact that it's coming on. He's talking about his domination and how he's getting rid of Daniel Bryan, and obviously Jimmy makes the appearance, and automatically you just assume how's this going to go. You probably would assume that they're just going to go inside, but I love the fact that it was just like it threw you at the start with the handshakes, and then later on the storyline has just developed through one whole episode, but not in a boring way, in a good way. At the start, it leaves you going, oh, here we go, they're just going to become this faction again, where they're going to be powerful, and whatever else. But Cesaro coming out again to be jumped by Seth, of course, was just another chaotic start, but it was like a really good start compared to any Raw we've seen for over a month now. No 40 minutes. Advertise a match we knew about last week.
So it kind of led us up quite neatly, I think, to the Seth and Cesaro match. What did you think of the actual match itself, Michael, before the ending?
I love these two so like that. There's one there. I don't know why I didn't think of Seth Rollins. I love watching Seth Rollins in the ring. Like, he's just so talented.
Terribly dressed, but isn't he, Michael?
No. Show that fucking respect as we get into show. I just like I thought, like, I don't think you could put these two like tie each other's hands behind their back and then still go out and have a good match together. Like, I mean, I suppose Cesaro could do his UFO anyway, couldn't he? WWE fucking showed it often enough. But I would quite like WWE to come up with a name for that. See that move that Seth Rollins has done like maybe 3 or 4 times now, where he catches his leg on their leg and then reverse kicks their head. I really wish he would come up with a move for that, so I didn't have to do all that rigmarole that I just did.
That's really impressive, though.
Aye, it's brilliant. Like, and that just like the fact that he's been in WWE now for obviously he's been wrestling for a lot longer, but he's been in WWE since when, like 2013, is it? Something like that.
I think so. I think you're right, to be honest. Aye.
And then it's only just recently that he's like brought out just like new moves to his arsenal. He just like goes to show he's like just ever progressing talent.
Aye.
Same with Cesaro.
What did you think about the ending of it, Ellis? Were you disappointed by it, or were you relieved that they didn't, maybe getting a bit of a teaser that there's still more in this?
No, I did. I quite liked the match in itself. I've actually lost my things there. I was talking about a match here. Never know you talking about a match, are we?
Talking about the end of Rollins Cesaro.
I like that. It was it's just keeping that kind of intertwining storyline. That it's not over, but as things develop as well with the backstage segment where obviously Rollins goes in and there's the kind of mixed reaction you're getting. You're thinking, how's it going to go? Is Seth on Roman's side? Is he not on his side? Because obviously it cost him the match in the end, didn't it? One of the shows also, but it was interesting that they chose to cost him the match, of course, which kind of built you into thinking again they're going to become this faction because Cesaro's turned on him, and even though he's kind of switching between the two. But no, I wasn't disappointed that it was nowhere near done, because they two are just phenomenal. Like Michael says, their movesets are crazy. Cesaro, I don't think there's a move out there that he couldn't do. I really don't. The guy could probably learn anything. And Seth Rollins as well. It just anything, his unpredictability with some of his moves is just fantastic. I just love that one. One of my favourite ones is the one he does. I think it was the WrestleMania was outdoors. It was against Randy Orton. That one, the pop up kind of curb stomp. And I don't know if did he hit it or did he? Was it reversed? I think. Orton, I think it might have been.
He went to hit the curb stomp and Randy pushed him up and then caught the RKO.
Aye, so it was just like, even though it was a reversal, it was just the fact that, you know, it was like how high the guy can get, do you know what I mean, for doing something like that right in the middle of the ring. He's not jumping off it. But I love, that's the thing, he doesn't really do the kind of whole curb stomp right into the ground anymore the way he used to when it was the Shield, because you would get the kind of the brutal side of that. It's a bit less with some of Randy Orton's moves you don't see anymore because they don't allow it, and it's, you know, naughty, you can't do this anymore.
I'm just relieved that he's got it again, because they took it away for God knows how long, didn't they, and gave him the pedigree. Aye. And it's just such a good move, and like, I'm so happy that he's got it again.
This is where I'm the biggest hypocrite in the world as well, because everything that I criticise about Raw with repetitive storylines and the same people fighting each other, I could watch Cesaro and Rollins fighting for the next year and a half, and I'd be quite happy. You know, you don't see the same match. You don't see close to the same match. You know, time after time. These guys are unbelievable. I absolutely love watching the two of them. I think you set it up quite nice for maybe Rollins to continue as a babyface when this storyline's finished, and maybe teasing us about the direction it might go in as a rival to Roman Reigns, which would be quite good. Is that ground you think's already covered, Lewis, or would you want to watch something like that?
I would, to be honest. It's like, probably, other than, you know, people that aren't in the company at the moment, like it's the person you would see maybe has been able to dethrone him, other than the Usos inside the faction themselves, really. If they're able to shake him off, you know, distract him, it could be a Cesaro win at the end of the day. But if there's somebody, it has to be somebody different, it has to be somebody out with that. Seth every day, I think they could really pull off a real good match, and it's also something we got, I think, a bit of a taster for back when the Shield, but it wasn't really a proper built up rivalry as such. And they're kind of teasing that with the whole backstage thing where they're saying get your family in control, basically, and I'll let you off this time, sort of thing. So I was kind of going, are they teasing, are they drip feeding us with this one and maybe just going to swerve us, or are they going to go for it? But it's, you know, down at a bigger pay-per-view, I don't know.
I do quite like that there's that mutual respect there for like, I think that there's that mutual respect there for Roman, like, because I mean, who else could go up and talk to him like that and say, get your fucking family in order, basically? Like, I think obviously because they were in the Shield together, there is that like respect there, but like, it just, I know we keep banging on about how shite Raw is, but like, it just goes to show how good that, like, even just this one story, like, you've got Roman Reigns and Cesaro, like, is obviously the match going into WrestleMania Backlash. You've got everything that's happening with Jimmy and Jey Uso now, and like whether that family's going to break up or whatever, and then you've got the wee seeds being planted with Seth Rollins, like, is he with Roman, is he not Roman? So it's like just three like stems off of the one story where you compare. I won't compare Raw. We're having a positive podcast.
Here's the thing as well, you know, while you're on your lovely Roman Reigns positive party, actually,
yeah, it may never happen again.
That big greasy doughball who's forgot, it was Seth Rollins that broke up the Shield. He was the bastard that ruined it all. With John's friend for disbelief and believe, oh, Roman's a big bad guy. He was a good guy. Seth Rollins fucked him up.
You're right, actually, fuck Seth Rollins. That'd be shitey clits.
So after that, then we had Ruby Riott and Carmella, and what I thought was actually, you know, pretty exciting, and you know, maybe 5-6 minutes for Ruby Riott. I know she looked a wee bit like somebody who'd drawn Asuka as a cosplay character. You know, her green hair and her mad red clothes and stuff. But I actually thought she looked quite good, Lewis. You know, certainly in the opening couple of minutes of this match.
Aye, definitely. I didn't pick up the W, obviously, but it was something WWE have not been doing a lot lately and giving you something fresh again on the other brand. But you know, SmackDown taking that step is great to see something fresh to do different opponents. Somebody, it's not even built up over a title. It's just the fact that it's two different people fighting. That for the get go on paper, it's just great in itself. But I Ruby Riott was great. She's always been quite a good wrestler. And same way, Carmella. No, not Carmella. Sonya
Deville.
No, Sonya Deville. What's her name?
Mandy Rose.
The one that looks like Liv Morgan, the one that looks like Mandy Rose, because they're quite similar, aren't they? I don't know how her name just slipped out there, but I know she was in the match. But them as a tag team for a good while were quite good. But I think her herself was good in the ring, and Carmella, to be fair, picking up the win finally. I just think it's a bit strange why they didn't do that sooner. We are changing her gimmick. I don't know why they've waited this long to give her that one. So it'll be interesting to see if they pick that up and continue it. But it was just a shame that the match was a wee bit rushed.
I could have watched that. Certainly for a double that time. Although I did quite like the finish. What did you think, Michael? Carmella's get a decent finisher there. It kind of builds it up for no matter what's happening now. She can pull that out the bag at the last minute, makes her more unpredictable.
I always love a finisher like that like it can literally just be put on anybody. Like, it doesn't matter how big or small they are. And I quite liked it as well that, like
the DDT when we're all having a drink, Michael, is that what you're talking about?
Aye, just fucking try it. Aye, you know the habit a WWE has with like surprise roll-ups and all that sort of stuff. So that is genuinely the way that I thought that it was going to go. Like, once I saw the first surprise roll-up, so like for it to actually like come out of that and for Carmella to actually be able to lock in a finisher, like, it was such a smooth transition, and obviously it must have been rather sore because she tapped it immediately.
So I good finish to that match, and then the notes I've written for the next promo, just to set you up there, Lewis, is Bayley's boobs and Bianca. don't know where you want to go with that.
I don't know, I laughed getting a bit on my nerves a wee bit, just like, every time you just got to come out and laugh, like, surely to God they've not put that in your script here. Do an annoying laugh now.
Laugh, prick.
Just like, I was so hoping though that one of the names she dropped, that we're just going to come down to the ring and just smash her, and even if that was just a cameo and that was him, gone, great. Jacqueline or something come down, not fuck at her, great. Fair enough, because she went from dissing them to she didn't dare say a word bad about Blaze right enough. She kind of skipped around that one a wee bit. But no, it was interesting the way they went about it, and it's also the way they're kind of spinning it is she's underestimating Belair, but at the same time, I don't want it to go the way that I'm thinking it's going, because that's the way they're swerving you. They're going, right, either she's unpredicting it, unpredicting her, she's underestimating her and just thinking that she's going to basically take her down, and we're all going to go, right, okay, Belair's stronger. She's proven that right there and then, with the fact Bayley couldn't even take her down with a leg takedown. So it was like, at the same time, you just know the way WWE do things, and it's going to be Bayley's going to win, and it's going to spin out this mad heel again. But I don't want to see Bayley lose this belt so soon, because she's a fantastic champion, and I think like she's got some. Although Bayley is a fantastic opponent, and I think she is the one to elevate her, I hope that is what they do, and they don't just cut it short. Because what's the point in it, honestly?
I'm a bit biased. We had met Bayley when we were in Florida, and she was gorgeous to my niece. She was lovely, so I'm really fond of her, and I love watching her in the ring. But I don't think she should be anywhere near a microphone. I think she's no Meryl Streep. So we keep exposing her and making her vulnerable for the things she's not good at, and I don't think they maximise the opportunities, for her to show where she is good, which is in the ring. What do you think, Michael? Would you like to see her take the belt off Bianca, or you want her to have a longer run?
No, absolutely not. Like, I mean, we've mentioned it many a time, and like, she should have been involved at WrestleMania, and I'm glad that like this feuds actually have we've had maybe 4 weeks to build it. I mean, it's not been the most amazing build in the world, but it's a build, and I don't know. Like, I kind of disagree with what you're saying there. I quite like Bayley on the mic. I think she's just like. She's supposed to be annoying. Like, I don't think anybody ever thought, like, when Bayley was coming out with the Bayley buddies and she was like the babyface and all of babyface land that she could ever pull off becoming this heel character, and just like the way she runs through all these names, and we all know how much like Bailey's been a fan like growing up her entire life. Ever pull off becoming this. Jesus, I heard my voice there.
That's the first time you've ever had positive feedback.
But just the way she was going through all these names, like I thought she was gonna like actually be genuine and praise them, but then she was just like, "Nah, I'm better than all of them." And I was like, fair play. She's acting as a good heel here, but nah, I think Bianca, like we said when she won at WrestleMania, like it just excites this whole women's division with like two brand new faces in Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair, and Bayley is just it's a great first opponent, like for Bianca, like to defend her title, and hopefully I know the two of them will put on a great match because they're two phenomenal talents, and then obviously see where it goes from there. But I think obviously depending on how the matches win, it could be a one and done for Bayley, or we could see her go into. But that's just a thing. Like and I'll mention it again because it's got to be one every podcast. If they had a mid-card women's title, we wouldn't have to cram everybody into the same title picture. We'd have many layers, but
that's a good idea. I genuinely think that's that's the way to go. It's one area where WWE far excel compared to AEW. Impact. Their women's division is spectacular, and it's not tokenistic. These are real athletes, real wrestlers, real stories to tell. The only part I disagree, with you is Bailey on the mic. I loved it as a babyface. Shut the fuck up and hug people. That's what I like. So after that, I don't even know if you want to talk about Dolph Ziggler and Dominic Mysterio, Lewis, but you're welcome to give it as much time as you think it deserves.
It's probably about 10 seconds or something. I think that's probably what's all going to be. The only good thing I could probably take for it is the fact that they're finally having a bit of smash talk. But it's like too little too late, and it's not just on their part, it's the fact that they didn't even get a match at WrestleMania. It's tag team titles. You've devalued them by not even having them on that, and that's not going to change. But having it on at a pay-per-view that's now connected to WrestleMania that you weren't on, you can't have backlash to something that didn't happen.
We can rage on a bit.
Exactly. Didn't face you, that's why. But I poking fun at Dominic. It's the kind of typical thing you'd expect, but it kind of showed a wee bit of a glimpse of the old Ziggler, the old heel Ziggler that you were used to kind of seeing. Just he wouldn't give a fuck about anybody. He would come in, he would rip right into them. It was quite good, but it's not really building any hype for it. I don't see it. It's not really done anything for me.
And he's great on it, Mike Dolph. But was there a point to this, Michael?
Nah, like you look at AEW and you look at NXT, their tag team division, what their belts mean, and it's actually going places. Like you had a fatal four-way tag team match on AEW that we've just spoke about. It was brilliant. Like, and there's not a bad tag team in it. Sorry. And then you compare it to WWE, and it's not the tag team's fault. It's absolutely not the tag team's fault at all, because like they're talented wrestlers. It's so hard to gain momentum and stuff like that when you're being split up left, right, and centre. It's just like, how many decent tag teams have we seen that could have had such a good future, like, and made this tag team division like something special, only for it to get broken up? Shelton Benjamin, Cedric Alexander is the prime example of that. Like, you think back to the tag teams, like when I was growing up. Well, yours might be different to me, obviously. When I was growing up, like the Dudley Boys, Edge and Christian, like tag teams like that actually were like solid, amazing tag teams. And then like in WWE, it just seems like, I mean, you've got the Street Profits who are like a genuine tag team, but then the Viking Raiders, but then you've got the likes of Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler, who, don't get me wrong, they're decent together, but they're two singles competitors being thrown together in a tag team. They're not a genuine tag team. When there's like been so many genuine tag teams that have just been broke up for no fucking reason.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think they could do more sometimes with the, even with the aesthetic. When I'm watching wrestling, I'm a child again. I'm suspending my disbelief. If you dressed the Young Bucks up similar to each other, there's something subconscious about me then that thinks they're more in tandem. You know, they're in sync, they're on the same page. But ramming two singles competitors together without a believable link between them, and when nothing aesthetically to tell me that they belong together, I find it more difficult to invest, you know, in the believability of them as a genuine tag team that want to be together. I don't know what Dolph Ziggler would get at a partnership with, you know, with Robert Root. You know, I don't see it at all. And they haven't even given us anything beway of a reasonable explanation to sell it to us. So it seems like a waste of talent for both of these guys.
Because like but it's just like, it's not as if it's just like a problem with two singles competitors being a tag team, because like that can work. Because you look at the first thing that comes to my mind is Chris Jericho and the Big Show, or Kane and Daniel Bryan. Like that worked, but
they made it work.
Because they made it work, and there's story behind it as to why they became a tag team. Not just, I mean, maybe there was with Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode, but it was that unforgettable, or sorry, unrememberable that I just can't remember it.
Even just calling them Jericho is enough for me to go, oh, that's a tag team. You know, you still have that kind of childlike innocence when when you're looking at it. What was he called? Team Hell No? Daniel Bryan and Kane. That is the most ridiculous two people to put together, and also one of the best tag teams that I can remember. I still, even though I don't know how many years ago that is, but I still occasionally laugh at, I'm the tag team champions, no, I'm the tag team champion, and then being forced to cuddle each other at therapy sessions and stuff. But these were stories, you know, that were told by brilliant creative, you know, or these were two individuals who were able to get a message across, who were just absolutely bouncing off each other and gelling. But whatever's happening with Ziggler and Roode, they're certainly not Daniel Bryan and Kane. Following on then from that, when we talk about ridiculous people being put together, I don't know if you want to go and take a couple of tablets and calm down, Michael, but we'll let Lewis kick off with us, and you can maybe take deep breaths. Tamina and Reginald, Lewis, what the fuck?
Aye, it's along those lines. It's for fuck's sake, that's what I put for the starting of it. Followed by is Reginald auditioning for the villain in the next Jackie Chan movie. Thank God they get super kicked. That's all I can say. But then again, it dampened it when it was another interference and a disqualification finish. So that's it. Pointless, absolutely pointless. The guy is talented, fair enough, but he's a royal fucking pain in the arse. Don't know where you want to put him, but anywhere but WWE. Put him on Raw, because we might actually eventually stop watching it then.
No, don't put him on Raw, because we need to watch it for us, and then it'll make it even more fucking unbearable.
That's true. Where can he go? Impact.
I remember my sisters going for, remember those gymnastic awards, bag of one, bag of two, bag of three, bag of four. That's how they used to jump about the house. You know? Absolutely mental. I don't get the point of putting them against each other if she's not getting her hands on them. I don't get the point of the interference. I don't really feel like it made me any more excited about what I think is going to be a dreadful outcome at Backlash for me anyway. So we'll move on then. We've given that probably more time than it deserved.
Oh, hold on. Just one thing. Remember in the last stream we were talking about wrestlers' entrances, and I was like, where the fuck is Seth Rollins' entrance? They've released all these new entrances, and I was shocked to find that wee Fanny Reginald's entrance music. He didn't even use it. He came out to Nia Jax's entrance.
It's a kick right at the entrance he's needing. Absolute joke. So, 10-man tag, mayhem, an awful lot of good people in the ring, an awful lot of talent. I actually thought this was probably if not my favourite, then my second favourite match of the night. I actually quite liked this. I might have scripted the ending differently. I certainly would have, you know, there are people in there who you know that I loathe, who pick up wins often. But what did you make of this, Michael?
I thought the match was, as you said, it was really good. Like I quite liked. I mean, minus the accent, Apollo's promo beforehand, where he was putting everybody in his team over it, and then he got to Sami Zayn and he just kind of went over him. But no,
Time to do it.
Fuck you. No, I thought the match at the start, Gable and Dawkins, I thought the two of them had got, like, they weren't in the match for all too long, but you can just see, like, just for the small snippet that they were together, that the two of them could just have great chemistry together. And see Chad Gable, like, I know we talk about splitting up tag teams, and I don't want to do it anytime soon, but I really genuinely do think that Chad Gable could, like, go on a singles run at some point, like, and I genuinely do see him as, like, a kind of modern day, maybe not as good in the mic, like, but he could obviously pick that up. But it is, in terms of his in-ring ability, I would honestly, like, put him maybe in the same league as Kurt Angle. Like, I think he's brilliant.
What did you think about the suplex with Kevin Owens? That looked as if it maybe over-rotated. That looked like Owens took a sword one to the back of the neck.
What was that? That was at the end, wasn't it? Was it the end?
Near the
end. Did I have that right? Oh, I did actually. Gable jamming to KO. It could have just been maybe just a rough bump, but I think, like, I mean, accidents will happen, like, in the wrestling ring. Obviously, you don't want to see it happen, but, like, I think I've seen enough of, like, Gable in the ring to see that he's. Obviously, I hope Kevin Owens is all right.
I was like, it was a horrible bump. It was really hard to watch the 7 times that are around it.
Oh, sorry, I had something on my feet there. Aye, but I know you said you didn't like a couple of the competitors in it, but as we were talking about it again on the last stream about the entrances and stuff like that, and see, just listening to Jim Johnson talk about Baron Corbin's old entrance. I know it's a shitey one now, but it's actually kind of made me have a wee soft spot for Baron Corbin now, just because I know that that's, like, the last ever wee what? The last ever wee part of Jim Johnson I'll ever have in WWE is through him, and it's bittersweet, but I'll take it.
We'd had a couple of podcasts ago, we had a conversation about Baron Corbin and his in-ring ability, and spoken about some of the kind of YouTube videos that you can see, you know, where he's really protected people and saved them from really bad injuries. Mm-hmm. I thought that this match was a really good way to include an awful lot of people that have potential. I thought it was a meaningful way to get people involved in a match that I genuinely did rewind and watch a few times, because there was so much going on, that I felt I was missing quite a lot. So it was carnage, it was mayhem, but I thought it was quite entertaining, Lewis.
I did as well, to be honest. As you say, I think, like, with this, there's usually, I think, even if you flash back to years ago when they overused the 10-man tag, where they just constantly did it. I don't know if it was the repetitiveness or if it was just the fact that they were shoving that many people in there that you didn't like, or they were just underused and you didn't like them. But this whole 10-man tag, I know you're not supposed to like the guys, and to be fair, I'm the same. To be fair, I'm a bit iffy on Baron Corbin. He's a good bad guy, but he's, like, for a long time he was just annoying as fuck, and then nothing ever actually happened. So I think it just got to the point it was just stale. But the whole babyface team were fantastic, and I just love the fact that even with the heels, there's a lot of storylines going on there. Like you say, they've utilised them the correct way to make it an exciting match, and I was quite impressed with, like, Nakamura for one part of it, and there's lots of different things where you say are going on at once. Dawkins on the outside, I think, just the way absolutely blasted. I think it was Chad Gable, was it? And then he get flattened by Otis. It's just, it's crazy. And then Kevin Owens with the stunner on Cruz, and the way Cruz ate that one. It was just like a slinky. It was just like a slinky. Just there. Honestly, it was mental. But
I remember that. Paused it. Watched the one that The Rock oversold for just to see the comparison again, to see how good it was, and it's up there. I mean, it was a belter.
Maybe not as good as that, but it is definitely up there. But I think with maybe you guys might think different, but I think the result for the heels is good. I think it's a good thing because, especially giving Corbin that as well, giving him the pin and the win. I think it's probably maybe going. I don't know if they're aiming to try and make him relevant again, or if they're, I wouldn't say keep him relevant because he's not been relevant for a while. But to keep him relevant or make him relevant, whatever way it is, it was good. But it was good for the heels, I think, because then it's like they're picking up a win, and obviously it kind of leaves that kind of want for the baby faces to beat them, basically. So it kind of makes you go, right, we really, really want everybody who's facing a champion or whatever to win now. Obviously, it's not going to go that way with every one of them, but I certainly think it adds a bit more heat to the feuds that are going. But I like the fact that they didn't fully focus on one feud the way they do sometimes.
Yeah.
They look at the big one, and obviously the big one would have been Big E and Cruz.
Yeah.
So I like the fact they're not just focusing that, and it's not even throughout the match. It didn't just take over. It was everybody was involved in it, and everything was just as big as each other. So I loved it myself. I thought that was a highlight. Definitely one of the best matches, that's for sure.
I think it just goes to show that they need to make Teddy Long the permanent GM of SmackDown. I think that's
You're facing the Undertaker.
I think he's retired.
And as they call King Booker, but he meant King Corbin. Love him. Absolutely love him.
Oh,
I quite like
Sammy, and he's like,
you get warmed up for the match, you do.
I quite like that as a throwback. Certainly, the set design was really disappointing. I don't think
it was as good as that.
I don't even remember the old SmackDown sets being as bad and as poorly designed. It was just all over the place. There was nothing that was congruent. Everything seemed mismatched. And actually, the first episode of SmackDown, everything was seamless, and looked great and looked modern. And so that's, I don't know what that was all about. And I thought some of the videos that they showed, the kind of classic throwback videos, they made you long for those days, because what you were watching in comparison, why are you showing highlights of a product,
so much better.
And it makes what you're watching just now look poor. So I like the idea behind it, but I thought maybe the execution could have been a bit better. What did you think of it? Sorry, on you go, Michael.
Oh, sorry. See, just especially with WWE cock teasing you on Twitter, and they were like, what set do you prefer? And it was the oval set and then the fist set. And then just to have neither, but a fucking CGI fist.
I have heard that they're supposed to be building it genuinely though, but you would think they would have had it built for this, of course.
Don't fucking promote a throwback SmackDown then if you've not got your fucking stage ready.
But like we spoke about in that last podcast, they probably have it sitting in the warehouse already. It's just they couldn't be asked. Or Vince has just went see now and forgot. I don't know.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I'll need to go back and listen to the podcast, but did we not say something about it potentially being something shite like that?
I don't remember you saying anything about them letting a first year who just learned about PowerPoint design the set. So, God. What about the old ending then? Tying up the kind of a running story. Big Reigns ultimatum. We'll go to you, Lewis.
I thought it was interesting, like we were saying at the start, the way they kind of threw it, where you were just assuming he was literally, as he put to Jimmy, you fall in line or your ass is going home, and you just automatically, as I say, thought for the get go that was him. He was going to just join them again. I genuinely forgot, to be honest, that he was involved in this storyline back in October until they obviously flashed it up. I know you can forget these things, but that was one that was long gone out of my memory. I don't remember him coming in the ring and covering him and then putting him in the submission. I don't remember that, but no, I liked it. I like the spin they're putting on it. I like the added storylines are going on at the same time, and it just makes you question how Roman can't be toppled, and you almost want them to be the ones to do it in a way, because I think they would be the baby faces of SmackDown. Let's face it, they would be back to the old Usos, which everybody loved. Not that they weren't good as heels, because I think they were good at heels, but I think with the time he's been out injured, it's pointless bringing them back as heels. It just wouldn't work. They've not got anything to go from. But aye, they've got the potential to stop him, but it's just a case of how they're going to play it. If they're going to want somebody to take the title off him, but at the same time, I suppose if they did do that, it would be more of a clean escape for Roman. He's not been toppled by somebody, technically speaking. He's still a dominant force.
Aye. What did you think, Michael? Did you think they tied it up nicely, or was it an unnecessary exclamation point?
No, I think I honestly can't fault anything that happened. I think it was the delivery of it as well. Even the wee backstage bit with Jimmy and Jay talking about it, and Jimmy being like, "I ain't no bitch," and obviously he delivered that a lot better than I just did. But just the whole build through the show, it didn't feel like it was overstaying its welcome. The Braun Strowman stuff that you see him 3 times in one night of just the same shite, but this is you see multiple things in the one night, but it's all developing. And I know you don't like him, Liam, but I think Roman Reigns is just doing such a good job at just being this such an intimidating figure. Obviously it's wrestling and it's all predetermined, but I actually genuinely have a bit of fear in my heart for Jimmy Uso, just the way Roman Reigns looks at him sometimes. But I know you're saying it could be it could even be Jimmy and Jay to topple Roman, but I would honestly love to see them being the dominant faction in SmackDown and just being in control of everything, because I think it's just, obviously Jay Uso didn't fall in line straight away, he fought it and then eventually, so I think they'll probably do that with Jimmy, and I hope they do that with Jimmy, and that he's not going to join, and then he eventually has to do it, and then he's alright with it, and then they become the dominant force, and then if you want to split them up later down the line, then you could do that. But I think, I don't even know what could happen at WrestleMania Backlash with Cesaro, because don't get me wrong, I would love to see Cesaro win. I think he deserves it. I think he's been a phenomenal talent for so many years in the WWE, and he really does deserve this spotlight. But I would love to see Big E win it at SummerSlam against Roman Reigns. I just can't get that out of my head. And I know he's in an Intercontinental title picture right now, and maybe they might just save that for WrestleMania next year. But I just can't get it out of my head.
I only kayfabe don't like Roman Reigns. That's just for the that's just for the banter. Actually, I respect the fact that he's come back from real adversity to be an absolute monster in the ring. I do think he's doing his best stuff. He's never going to be in my top 10, and I'm never going to itch to watch him. I really look forward to what he's doing. But actually, props to the guy, because this is his best product. There's been no better output from him. And whether that's to do with Paul Heyman or not, he's selling it. He's the one in there doing the job, and it's the most believable he's ever been. So I don't fast forward him the way I would have 2 years ago. But I do, I'm interested in what he's doing, but I don't feel the same way that I maybe would have done for for Edge or even Matt Riddle, where I'm dying to see what you guys are up to. That kind of neatly ties off SmackDown and AEW, and I suppose the consensus is that 2 pretty decent shows that are leaving us wanting to watch more. I was going to sign off with a wee story that I was told, and I'm going to put a caveat in that this is a joke from a 13-year-old who's asked me not to say their name because there's swear words in it. So, no one to do off their granny, but apparently when John Cena was part of the Raw tour in Braehead Arena in 2010, he suffered a concussion outside the ring, and they took him to the Southern General Hospital. It was at the time he was dazed and confused, and he woke up and he asked the nurse, "Where am I?" And she said, "I see you." And he said, "Continue, fuck." So, anybody get any better ones than that, please send them in on Facebook, Instagram, or in the comments in YouTube. Thanks very much for joining us on this episode of Scotslam, and we'll see you next time. From me, good night.
Thanks very much, Liz. Good night.
Adios.